Hey, welcome to Nakama News. I'm your host, Jordan Goldie, and this is my co host, Jamie Lawagi. And we're here today bringing you the news. To start off, we had a despicable man who was pounded into a human accordion by a little person.
Also, do old men have trouble revealing their D? Find out tonight.
In other news, do we finally find out if the revolutionary hero killed a beloved king? Not this week, but maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Welcome to Nakama News.
The common news, you'll see friendship when you view the common news. Well, everyone lends a helping hand or two. I'm glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome back. The common news.
So yeah, Goldie, this week we got chapter 1084 titled The Attempted Murder of a Celestial Dragon.
Yeah, we do.
Cover page just is a drawn image of a bunch of the One Piece female characters hanging out together. I didn't see any kind of Easter eggs that were worth noting, kind of like how Sanji had the COC King incident on his book a few chapters ago. But yeah, not too much there.
Yeah, I didn't see anything there either on the cover page. To start off, though, we start out this crazy chapter at Pangea Castle, and we get Sabo running around. He's looking for the slave collars again. So we're starting off right where we left off last time.
Who would have
And
thought?
he runs into.
Who would have thought? I was so scared we would go somewhere else. So scared.
I was pretty confident. I'm not gonna lie, but I was in the back of my mind. It was like, please don't, just don't do it, just don't do it.
Don't do it, Oda. Don't do it, man. We'll find you.
And Sabo runs into Bonnie while he's looking for these keys. We kind of knew Bonnie was there already, and we didn't know that she ran into Sabo though, so that was news.
Yeah.
Sabo gives the keys to Kara's crow.
Yeah. The thing with Bonnie is, when she kind of appeared in Egghead and Luffy was with her when they were alone, like in that one scene, she mentioned something like, "Should I tell him about Sabo?" Almost hinting that she saw something major happen with Sabo. So I'm not sure if she just knew the news that Robin never told Luffy because Luffy's like, I don't know. Or if she actually saw something there. So potentially Bonnie, I know she kind of goes her separate ways with Sabo in this chapter, but does she like see something later? I'm not sure.
That's a good question. And it does seem like she knows a lot more than she's let off so far. So it's gonna be interesting to go back and see her again after this flashback, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's keep going though. So we had Sabo looking around. He runs into Bonnie. He's looking for the keys. He does find them, and he gives them to Karasu. And then Bonnie tells Sabo that she's going to go to Vegapunk Island. So she's planning ahead to where we are now. And she's going to go look to find a way to save Kuma and bring him back to normal. And then they get caught off guard. Sabo grabs her, Bonnie, and hides because the guards are coming up. And they're all freaking out, like, oh God, there's not enough people here. We can't do this. We can't cover the ground. And they mentioned something really interesting with this thing called the Phantom Room. And I have no idea what that is.
Well, first off, how funny is it that they're having staffing issues at Pangea Castle? You think
the most important place in the world, apparently.
the working conditions I hear are tough. Like you could be put into slavery at any moment. You could just be murdered. So hard to say why they don't have a lot of people working there. But yeah.
And on top of that, you got this Phantom Room thing that's apparently just like killing all the guards. We have no idea why or how.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of mentioning this room that's like some secret room that guards are discovering, and then once they discover, they're going missing. My best guess is on what that room if we've seen it already, it would probably be either the flower chamber that we see Emu in,
Yep, that's what
um,
I was thinking. That's exactly what I
or
was
like
thinking.
that freezer room where we saw the giant straw hat. So I'm
Oh,
not sure. One of those two
that's a
rooms,
good
you know.
guess. I could definitely see it being the flower room, and Emu's just killing everyone that sees him because he's got a. But
Yeah, and I know we'll get to it later, but it's
we will.
Emu's a very interesting character. So yeah, I got
Yeah,
some
we'll,
thoughts.
we'll get to more of that person later.
Oh yeah,
Jamie, you want to kick off the next scene?
yeah. So after Bonnie and Sabo go their separate ways, it cuts to Cobra with the Gorsi, that scene. And Cobra's alone, just him. He doesn't have Pell or Shaka, or not Shaka, whatever the other guy's name is. And
The
they are,
balls on this man to go into that room with no one and just talk to the most important, powerful people in the world and be like, "Yo, this is what's going on. I need you to do stuff for me. I need you to tell me
yeah,
stuff."
yeah.
Like, oh,
He's got some
anyway,
big kahunas, man. Big kahunas going in there with nothing.
just
And then,
saying, put some respect on King Cobra's name.
so he kind of summarizes some things that we've heard before about the Void Century, and then brings some new information. So he points out how there were 20 monarchs, and they were all in equal status, who broke away from the ancient kingdom to form the world government, 900 or 800 years ago, following the 100-year. I'm not sure the exact timing of it, but 900 years ago it started. Then there was a 100-year void century, and then the world government, I think, formed after the void century at 800 years ago. So he points
Okay,
out that how there's 20 of them, and then how those 20 families, or really 19, became the celestial dragons that are now. And the drop some information, kind of that the families that left to be celestial dragons and live in heaven, they were replaced by other rulers in their kingdoms. And then, interesting enough, like all records of them ruling were kind of hidden so that nobody would question it. So I thought that was I think that was new. Yeah, any thoughts on that so far?
I'm not sure if we knew it was exactly 20 before. Did we? I don't know
We
if we had
did.
that number. We knew that that the celestial
Yeah.
dragons were the former rulers who went up into heaven. But I don't know if we knew that there was 20. So that was news. Um,
I think we did know it
I
was
mean,
20.
did we know?
He did, yeah. We knew his 20 families broke off. And we knew Nefertari was the only one that kind of didn't join them. So we knew that. We didn't know much about like what happened once they left.
Not at all.
Yeah. So, but the celestial, or those 19 families, 20 families, kind of agreed upon like this empty throne structure where they would have a symbolic throne, and then they all agreed not to sit on top of it, so as to not rule, just as a solo monarchy. And so they used symbolic swords from each family to, they placed in front of the throne. And there's really only 19 swords, because the 20th sword would have been from the Nefertari family. But as Cobra says, his ancestor Nefertari, it's either Lily or Lili, I'm not sure, because we know a few members of the Nefertari women. We have Vivi, then her mom was Titi. So I'm not sure if it's going to be Lily or Lili. But either way, he mentions her,
So
how she agreed not
I
to go.
think that's going to be Lily because, and I'll just jump in for a little bit here because there's a lot. There's a lot there.
Yeah,
Lily, so Vivi is actually a reference to a flower in Japanese. So it makes sense, and I believe that pretty much all. I think Titi is too. I'm not sure, but I think it is. So I think that Lily, it's going to be Lily because they're all references to flowers for whatever reason. But yeah, that would be my thing. And I just want to point out, I find it so comically ironic that these people who are ruling the world from the top down, with, I mean, discrimination everywhere and just absolute power, trying to establish this equal system at the very top and among them. And I don't know why they think that'll work, but it's really funny that it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And to be honest, I don't even understand the dynamics of what was going on because just like real briefly, like the 100-Year War, the Void Century, it's you had the established kind of ancient kingdom, and then 20 families broke away and like kind of fought a great war. And things happened during that time, like Shandora, the city of Shandora fell before it like went up to Sky Island. And then you have these 20 families that break away, and then from those 20 families, one family breaks away again. So to me, it's just so interesting because I'm not even sure which family was the bad one. Or, maybe the 20 families were good back then, and then through the years of being just kind of the way that they are, the Celestial Dragons, they've kind of morphed into really bad people, even though they started as good. Or maybe they were never really that good, and some people didn't always agree with what was happening. It's so interesting. I can't wait to find out more.
It's hard for me to imagine people who would group together as absolute sovereigns to be purely good people. I don't know. Those people just don't tend to be good people. So, but it could be that there was some kind of world crisis and something like that was necessary at the time.
Yeah, we need to do like a theory video on the Void Century and stuff. That would be so fun to like really get in the nitty gritty.
Let's keep going though.
Yeah, let me keep going here. So Cobra kind of points out how that no one agreed to sit on top of the throne. And then he says like, hey, that's fine, everything's good, but like what happened? Why don't you guys ever mention, my ancestor? You kind of erased her from history. She's not in any of the record books. And more importantly, she never made it home, dudes. What are you doing? So that was interesting. A good reveal here of an ancestor from the Nefertari family. And then the Gorosei kind of respond. I think it's the short guy with the beard. Says he's like, well, 800 years was a long time ago. So as far as they knew, she actually returned according to their records. So I found that part interesting because whereas we find out later in the chapter, and we'll get to it when we do, but here kind of the Gorosei, one of the theories is that all the members of the Gorosei also are immortal. I'm less likely to believe that kind of based upon this chapter because they're talking either like they're really trying to cover something up, but it almost seems like they just honestly don't really know because they're like they weren't there and they're not really trying to play into that. I know it's kind of reaching, but that's just one of the
hard to tell if they're being honest or not because we just don't know much about them at this point. I mean, we know that they're the leaders of the Celestial Dragons who aren't good people, so it's easy to presume that they're lying. But they are trying to lead the world, so I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah, no, who knows? But just a thought. And then so he gets kind of shut down. They're like, we don't really know. And then Cobra throws like a Hail Mary out of nowhere. He's like, yeah. So what's the meaning of D? And they're like, dude, how could you even ask me that right now? What are you thinking? And then Cobra mentions like how the queen Lily passed down a short letter that she wrote, maybe pertaining to D. We don't know what that letter says. So really interesting stuff there at the end of kind of his conversation.
Yeah, there's a lot there. So I mean, just from the context of the conversation, you got to assume that the meeting of D is connected to Lily somehow. In some way, because otherwise, why would he even be bringing it up? Mm-hmm. And then the other question that I had is how does Cobra even know about Lily? Because he specifically says, "I've looked through all of my kingdom's ancient texts, and her name isn't mentioned at all." So if she's not mentioned in his kingdom's ancient text, how did he even learn about her?
True. I mean, maybe just passed down through the family, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, well, he does actually go into that because there's a letter passed out, right?
Yeah. yeah, for sure. So weird that they didn't write it down in their own records, but maybe it's like a government thing. I don't know. I'm not sure who's keeping
God, some
records over in
crazy
Alabama,
stuff.
but they're gonna get fired. Okay, they're gonna get fired. Um,
Oh, man, that's such interesting stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah, I agree. I
meanwhile,
think the letter D definitely sounds like it's more related to the Nefertari family than we thought. As far as we know, there's no D's in Alabasta that we met, and Cobra also never mentioned it. The first time we hear about it is from Dr. Kureha, and then we don't really hear about it much more after that until some significant moments with bigger characters. So I'm not sure how much that was pre-planned or not, but interesting nonetheless. Yeah, it's definitely related to the Void Century and the natural rivals of maybe those 20 families or something like that, and probably related to Joy Boy too.
well, it's got to be considering we got Luffy there, and he, oh, it's getting so close. It feels like we're on the verge of being able to put something together, and we're just not quite there yet.
Yeah. But I got nothing else for that. What's the next scene?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so after Cobra goes crazy, we go to Shirahoshi, and Shirahoshi has been captured by Saint Charlos, our boy.
Bro, catch me
At it
once,
again.
fool on you. Catch me twice, dude. Quit catching me. What are you doing?
Shirahoshi, she's doing her thing. She's crying. She's freaking out. We got Saint Charlos doing his thing. Oh, I'm gonna. He says he's gonna. He says I'm gonna ride you to town every single day. Like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Bro, she's like 15, dude. What are you doing?
Dude,
Arrest that man.
everyone who could have saved her has run away. They're like, she wasn't gonna marry us anyway. Oh, this girl, she's just been hunted her whole life.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Shirahoshi. She's been captured by Saint Charlos, and then we have Fukaboshi, and he's running in to save her. He's
Her
like, "This
brother.
is not going to happen." Um, and but they explained to us that Neptune and all of her guards and all of his guards are still in the Reverie Tower meeting, so they're not around. It's just Fukaboshi. We find out that the brothers are there too. We got Manboshi. Um, I forget the name of the other one.
And Fukaboshi. I
Um,
think those are the brothers, right?
Fukaboshi, Manboshi, Ryoboshi. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
The
we
third
got
one. Yeah.
so they're all there and they're charging in, and Charles just looks at him with the weird face, and he's like, "Kuma, get rid of him." So Kuma has Shirahoshi chained up, and he blasts them all away, and they're like, "Oh crap!" And then they just like they're fine. They come running back. This is One Piece.
Yeah. Of course.
Um. Anyway, we also find out that we have Mosgard there. Mosgard is the celestial dragon who went to Fishman Island, and he's now good. He's recognized the error of his ways,
Yeah.
and he is with Don Sai, who is one of Luffy's Grand Fleet captains, who we met on Doflamingo's Island. He was in the tournament. Speaking of that same place, we have Rebecca and Leo there. They're making an appearance. They see
Shout out Rebecca.
Shirahoshi, and they recognize Saint Charlos, but they don't actually do anything uh, because before they can, Fukaboshi charges in, and
Well, he gets stopped by.
yeah, he gets stopped again, and then he gets stopped by Mosgard because
Yeah.
Mosgard, that's right, Mosgard is trying to convince Fukaboshi, hey, you can't do this. They don't have a country to think about, he says.
Yeah.
So he's saying basically your country's going to get destroyed if you do this. They can't do that. You just like you got to let it go. And he's like, dude, I can't let them do this to my sister. But before he could charge in, we get Don Sai and Leo charging in, and they've completely flattened Saint Charlos to the point where they literally say they murdered a celestial dragon. Jamie, is Saint Charlos dead?
Well, we know he's not because, well, for one, it's attempted murder is the name of the chapter, and also when we learn about the events that happened at the Reverie, they're like trialing somebody for the attempted murder, so we know he lives. But bro, we gotta be honest. Like this is on the same page as tanking Zoro, Zoro doing the nothing happens, Charlos getting absolutely pounded into the ground and like every vertebrae in his body crushed, like
Man,
that.
he looks like a human accordion. He's just a pancake. He's a stack of pancakes at this point.
Bro, overscaling, like St. Charlos got to be up there. He's nerfed a hit from Luffy on that literally took the color away from the screen, and now he's got accordioned and somehow still lives. So
Oh man,
I wonder
he
how
can take
many
a hit.
times
That's
he's
for
gonna
sure. And then after that, so after they murder Saint Charlos, we get Morley, who is again one of the captains of the Revolutionary Army, the giant who can dig underground. He pops up from underneath and he grabs Kuma, and he says, "Stop picking on Kuma." Even though nobody's actually picking on Kuma, and he tells Kuma he doesn't have to listen to his orders anymore. And he tries to take him away, but before he does, Karasu shows up and he says, "Hey, Morley, I got the keys. We got the keys from Sabo." And Morley says, "All right, let's go." And then they dig back underground.
Yeah.
And right at the very end of the scene, we get Saint Roswald, Saint Charlos's dad. And he goes, "Look how they killed my boy."
Yeah. They definitely. It's a scene from a movie that I'm not sure the scan translating people purposely picked or whatever, but they're like, "Look how they massacred my boy!" But yeah, that family, I don't know what's gonna go on with them, but they are the punching bag that represents the Celestial Dragons. It's really funny.
I wish there were more.
I didn't think there was too many big reveals there. It just made a lot of sense that
No,
who protected and kind of the one Celestial Dragon, the good guy, Mosgard taking the credit so that the other ones didn't. We do hear about in one of the breakaway chapters of Wano, or maybe after Wano, when we're getting the information about the Reverie, someone says something around like how the attempted murder on St. Charlos, and they're being tried by the Holy Knights or God's Knights. So that was kind of one of the times that we talked about the God's Knights before, or it was in a similar chapter. It's heavily hinted that the God's Knights were taking care of it. So right now, Mosgard's on trial. Hopefully, he gets a fair trial. I'm not sure how that'll work for that guy.
something tells me it won't be that fair. And no, I didn't see anything too crazy in that scene. Lots of cameos. It's kind of cool to see Rebecca. But other than that, we just had fun watching St. Charlos get his butt kicked.
That was a good time. Yeah. Do you want to do trivia before we do the last scene?
Let's jump right into it. We got trivia for you guys. As you know, if you've been here last week, we're going to ask each other a couple of One Piece questions. They're going to relate to this chapter, but they can be from anything in One Piece. We're going to try to stump each other, and let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Jamie, you want to go first?
Do you want me to ask first, or you want to ask first?
Let's get you ask first. I think I went first last week, so I gotta redeem myself.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So this chapter, we get information about a new character, Nefertari Lily, who was alive during the Void Century. I was wondering if you can name 2 other people in the series that were alive during the Void Century.
Ooh. Does Joy Boy count?
Joy Boy counts. That's a big one.
Hey. Okay, someone else that was alive. I'm not gonna lie, I want to say Emu, but I'm not sure that would count.
That's kind of a sneaky answer. I think it's probably true. If you want to go with that,
Let me see if I can think of a third one. Someone who was alive during the Void Century. What we had? Hold on, let me think about it a bit.
I can think of 2 more.
You can think of 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think you still get credit.
Can I get a little hint of one of the 2?
One's related to Joy Boy, or like they were Yeah, there's some association there.
Some association with Joy Boy. Oh gosh, man, I'm blanking. I don't know
Think
if I
of
can.
think of a giant elephant.
Jo- we got Zoe. We got
Yeah.
what is his name? No, I can't remember. I can't forget the elephant's name.
No, I made a new
I
Zunisha,
said
man.
the island's name. No,
Yeah, Zunisha.
Tanisha.
Yeah, yeah.
Dang it.
And then the other
Okay.
one I would have accepted is I think Ryuma from Wano uh, was was also alive for
Really?
that.
He was alive during the Void Century. I didn't know that.
I think so. I kind of looked it
That's
up before just to make
and
sure. I
that's
think
that's
heavily.
the samurai that Zoro got his sword from, correct?
Yep, and then you lost it to
And
like a good
he lost it.
guy. But yeah, all right, yeah. Give me what's your first question?
Classic Zoro. Okay, so in this chapter, as we mentioned, we saw a lot of characters that we've seen in the past and haven't seen in a while. One of those guys was Don Sai. He's the captain of one of Luffy's fleet. Can you tell me which fleet he's a captain of?
Oh no, there's no. No, I don't think so because I think it's a name that isn't like common in my vernacular.
No,
And
it's a number.
it's a number. Oh, like what number of the fleet he is?
Yeah, which fleet is he a captain of?
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna say five.
You're gonna say five?
Yeah. No,
He is captain of the third fleet.
why you pause like that, bro? Why you pause? All right. Who's the first? Is it Bartolomeo?
Yeah. Although I should probably double check that because I was looking up all the captains.
Oh, what a mean question, man! What a mean question.
I'm sorry, I had to throw one in there with numbers.
Yeah.
So just to go over it because it's kind of fun. The captains of Luffy's fleet. There's 7 of them. We have Donsai, Cavendish, Bartolomeo, Hyruden, the giant. Most of these guys are from the Doflamingo arc.
Yeah.
Leo, I don't actually know his number. Orlumbus, and then Idio, who's the boxing explosion guy.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Bartolomeo's not one of them.
Bartolomeo was one of them. I thought I said him.
Oh, no, I don't know. Okay, okay,
Okay,
all right.
sorry
Well,
about that. That was a mean question.
that's okay. You gotta humble me a little bit. Um, my second question to you was gonna be one of the first times we see Im is Im's holding a set of posters, and I want you to tell me who all the people on the posters were.
Oh gosh, man, I don't even remember the posters.
Oh no!
Jeez. Okay.
This is mean. I'm sorry.
Brutal. He was holding a set of posters. Was it?
Yeah, yeah. They were asking him
What?
whose flame do you want to extinguish or whatever, whose light do you want to get rid of, and then he had 4, and
I
then he
think.
put the knife in one of them.
Um. Was it the Revolutionary Army? Was that like Dragon and Sabo?
Nope. You're gonna kick yourself, man.
Yeah, my gosh, I don't remember that first scene very well. I really need to go back and watch that again.
Yeah, I think it was the second scene he's in. I'll just tell you. Let me tell you. I'm sorry, man. I gave you a hard one again.
It's
You're
so
1 for
good.
2 today. That's okay. You're 1 for 2. We'll give it to you. The 4 posters were Luffy, Blackbeard, Shirahoshi, and Vivi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, now I really need to go back and watch that. I need to go back and watch all of the emo scenes and read all the emo chapters because I don't feel like I know enough about this mystery person.
Wow. How dare you have a One Piece YouTube channel? How dare you?
I'm terrible. Sorry.
Hit me with the next
Okay,
one.
this one. Hey, Editor Jordan here. I gotta give you a warning about what you're about to see. So I had tried to ask Jamie about what the father of Rebecca was named, and I messed up. I had forgotten, and I looked it up, and what I found was Rebecca's grandfather, and that's what I had immediately run with because I'm dumb, and I didn't spend enough time on that. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I ruined this section of the video, but hopefully you at least get a laugh out of what you're about to see. Hoping this one's a little easier. Again, we said a bunch of cameos this one, so my questions are on that. We see Rebecca. Rebecca's from Doflamingo's arc, the princess. Can you tell me the name of Rebecca's dad?
No, I knew you were gonna do this. I was like, what is that guy's name? I can just picture him as the toy guy being like, Rebecca, Rebecca, like the whole thing. Um, oh man, he had some kind of gladiator-like name. I thought. Jeez, I know they're from like
He
Ryukyu.
did. He was a gladiator. I'll
Um,
give you a hint.
yeah, please.
Starts with an R.
Oh man, what's the second letter?
And the third, and the
yeah, give me that second letter.
okay, fine. I'll do the second letter. It's R
Yeah.
I.
Not getting it. No, it's
Not even a try.
Raikou or I don't know. No, I have no clue. Rick. Ricky.
Okay, hold on.
Did you forget it?
No. No, I'm just trying to make sure I have the spelling right so I didn't throw you off.
I thought it was Ryukyu Kingdom. That's what I was gonna guess. But I don't know his name. And I think that was his.
And that's I threw you off. You're right. I was I had the Ryukyu Kingdom. Okay, I was wrong. I'm gonna give you a second chance.
This? You're banned. What?
You're banned.
You're banned. Absolutely banned.
So his name starts with a K.
You're the worst.
I am the worst, but it's all right because you get another chance now.
I'm not gonna get it still. Starts with a K.
It's Kyros.
Is it Kyros? Yeah, I was just getting it. Yep. Okay.
I'm not gonna get it now that he says it. Okay, it was like exact time. Yeah, I messed up. I want to give that one to you.
You're the worst.
I thought I had it down. I had looked it up because I had to remind myself, and then and you're like Ryukyu Kingdom, and I'm like, oh crap.
We got this video is going to be 50% like One Piece analysis and then 50% of you being the worst. This is the worst.
Hey man, at least you got a question right this week.
Bring that crying Jordan meme back, baby. All right.
With that embarrassment, let's keep going with the rest of the chapter.
We're not even going to reshoot that. This is how we're putting it in. Yeah, we're just legit guys. You know,
we're just two dudes who love One Piece and we're talking about it. We're not pros here.
Yeah. So the last scene, right? We'll get into it. We go back to Cobra. He's still waiting for those guys to tell him about some answers. And then all of a sudden, just nonchalantly, Eam starts walking up the stairs. Gorosei are like freaking out. They're like, "Sir, Cobra's still here." And then he's we don't know if it's a male or female yet, sits down on the throne. You get like a close up, and they just say, "Lily," like ... And Cobra's got like this look of terror, like his whole life has been a lie, and he's like, he's got to know he's dead at this moment. But yeah, crazy finale to the chapter. Crazy chapter overall, I thought.
There was so much to this chapter. It was really dense, which felt really good because last week's was kind of it just felt incomplete. It felt like we got a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. But with this one, we definitely got a lot of answers, and we got even more questions along with them. So it was pretty fun. I'm super curious if Cobra's face is because he's afraid or if it's because he recognizes Emu.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, that's a really good thought. I mean, I think the question on everyone's mind that everyone's theorizing right now is Emu Is that Lily? Is that somebody who knew Lily? Or what is that? I'm not sure. I think we have separate. You're in the camp of you think it's likely Lily, and I'm in the camp of I think it's somebody who likely knew Lily and was kind of felt personally betrayed that Lily left and didn't stay with them during when they all stayed. But they make a point to bring up those 19 swords where they pledged that they weren't going to be on top of the thing, and we do see that 20th sword previously with Im. So either Im never gave his sword, and that was Lily, or Lily never gave her sword. I'm not sure, man. I have no clue.
So just to clarify, I'm not in the camp that it is Lily, but what I think is I think it's one of Lily's descendants. I think that King Cobra recognizes this person because it's part of the Nefertari family. Wow. And Emu knows of Lily because that's an ancestor. That's my theory.
Okay. So you don't even think, from what you're saying, you don't even necessarily think Emu's from the Void Century. If you think it's somebody who was a descendant of Lily.
It could. I don't know, man. It's either Lily or it's a descendant. Because if it's Lily, then she has like the immortality fruit or something because she's lived
100%,
for.
Yeah. I feel like if one thing's confirmed this chapter without really saying it, it's that Im is somebody who's been alive for a very long time. We've all like speculated on it. That maybe the OP or the op fruit from Law was used on one of these world government folks. But the way that Im kind of walks in and is like, they set the whole chapter up by saying like, bro, that was 800 years ago. We have no clue. And then Im's just like, oh yeah, Lily. Like brings it up like casually, like they knew the person or they are the person. So I feel like if anything, the one thing I can take away is that it's extremely likely that Im was alive during the Void Century, which we all kind of thought anyway.
Yeah. So I guess that does rule out the descendants thing. I don't know. It's just this was a really good chapter. This was such a good chapter. And I hope that there's a little more before we jump back to Luffy, honestly.
Well, we still haven't got the one thing we were promised the story of what happened to Cobra and Sabo, how he was framed, and we still haven't got
that's about.
Exactly. So I'm very nervous that they're going to cut away to a different scene, but Oda's got to stay here. Like you haven't answered the primary question. You've brought up a lot of good things, but I still don't know how Cobra and Sabo ended up in the same room, and how Cobra was like assassinated.
Yeah, I agree. They gotta finish the purpose of the flashback. We gotta come back. I don't know if we're gonna get a full chapter again, but there's got to be at least a little bit that lets us know before we jump back to Sabo in the present.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, final thoughts before we hop off?
No, I think good chapter. So many. I feel like we're still uncovering more questions than I'm getting answered, which is weird. But overall,
man, One Piece is going to go on for the 10 years.
Yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, what do
you? All
right,
guys, let's break next week. So we'll be back with another video, but it's not going to be a chapter. Thanks for turning in Nakama News. Check us out on our social medias. We got at the Nakama News on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. Check us out there. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Have a good one.
Glad you could stick around for a minute now. You're always welcome back. Nakama News.